Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the fourth season of the 3+1 podcast, where tonight I am super excited and overjoyed to introduce to all of you the brand new host of 3+1, the podcast. And if you're watching 3+1, the live cast, the one and the only Elle. You can find her on TikTok and YouTube as Housewives and Chit Chat. Elle Murasaki, welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank
to
you.
the hostess's seat.
Thank you for having me. I like it. It's a real comfy chair.
Well, it's a comfy chair for a beautiful, beautiful woman. For everyone out there watching, we've been very fortunate to have two previous amazing hosts sit in that seat. First and foremost, the podcast launched with the one and the only, the amazing Tadzie Hall, who we are right now lifting up in prayer, supporting and loving on as she is going through what we know will be a minor health issue. You can see and learn more about that on my Facebook as well as my Instagram. And if you feel so compelled, we ask that you donate to her GoFundMe account to help cover her rehabilitation time as she has a long road ahead, but a road that we know be filled with triumph and overcoming. And healing. We know that is coming for our beloved Tadzie, the very first woman to sit in that great seat, followed by the second woman to sit in that great seat, the amazing actress, the incomparable Tracy Bonner, who is doing projects and all around the United States, filming everywhere. You just saw her in Sweet Magnolias. You just saw her Raising Dion season 2. You will be seeing her in tons of other things because she is busy, busy, busy and rolling. And so, Elle, we are so glad that you are here.
Thank you for having me.
Exactly what Tadzie did, exactly what Tracy did, is building a beautiful brand all around Housewives and Chit Chat. When we say Housewives, we're not just talking about the real ones, but we're also talking about the reality ones. So,
the
Elle,
real ones.
You're here. The real ones. So, I know we're going to have a lot of fun. We had fun. Just 3 years ago when you were my student, right? It was just 3 years ago.
We're calling it 2 years ago. I like this verbiage. Yeah, this was just a few years ago.
How many years ago was it really?
No, like 3.
See, you're a smart girl. See, y'all, she always was a smart girl. And tonight, welcoming our very first guest. This is episode 76. Greg, I have been doing this podcast live cast. It was a podcast at first. But we have cranked out 75 episodes of this work and over the course of the 4 years you've been doing it. And so I could not think of a better person to kick off the fourth season than someone who is a noted podcaster and a prolific host and someone who captivated me from the moment I ever found him and saw him on TikTok, the one and the only Greg Howard Jr. So everybody, welcome Greg Howard.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Sorry about the technical difficulties.
Technology. Can't live with it, can't live without it.
Exactly.
We're literally 2 minutes into the show, so it made no difference. It made a difference. We are so glad that you're here. Greg, I found you on TikTok with Petty Headlines. And I watched Petty Headlines, literally, Greg, you were doing 3 a day?
Yeah. During the election, I was at a minimum 3 a day. There were days as we got closer to the actual election day, and then shortly thereafter, I was doing up to 15 a day.
Wow.
I don't regret it though. It was so much fun.
I loved every moment of it, but this is what I want to know, right?
No regret.
Because this is, I think, a very important. Let me tell you why I asked the question. I'm asking, why did you do this? I'm asking it because there are a lot of people who are our age or older, some even younger, who say, oh, I'm never going to do TikTok. I'm never going to get a TikTok. There's no point or place for me on TikTok. Why did you do and start Petty Headlines? And why did you choose TikTok as a vehicle for that?
I ended up on TikTok like everybody else. It was the pandemic. We were all bored. We needed something to do. and I started out like everybody else, and I was, poorly lip syncing to other people's music, as white people tend to do on the app. And then I fell into political TikTok and news TikTok, and I saw an opportunity to kind of create my own avenue for it. And I merged two of my favorite shows when I was younger was pop-up video on VH1 and then MTV News. So I found kind of a happy medium for those two things, and it became a thing.
Elle, do you know what those things are? I don't know. I don't know what they are. I'm not that old, Greg. So I don't even know what are you talking about? Pop-up video, what is such a thing? Elle, no, honestly, I really do know. I love both. Elle, do you know what those? Do you remember those? Were you alive?
I don't remember pop-up video. I obviously love MTV News,
Yeah.
but I don't remember pop-up.
Great.
I love the humility though. He was like, it's a thing. Like, it's a thing.
And it's needed too. I feel like if we had MTV still going, I think it could be such a beautiful expression of like Gen Z and give them a level of news they can trust, because right now nothing fills that space. And so I do too. It was a joke. It was a joke, Facebook user. Tell me who you are, because I hate when they say Facebook user. So, Greg, another question that I had, and Elle, jump right in too, like if you have some questions. You grew a very fast, loyal audience quickly. How were you able to do that on TikTok?
If I knew, I would have all the answers. It happened quick, and it was unexpected. It was a little scary. Because it turned into, and you can speak to this as well. It turned into very much like people would DM me and be like, hey, do you have a PO box? I want to send you a coffee mug, or, hey, what's your Amazon wish list? And I'm like,
right.
I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, here's the stuff, but like, I don't know. So yeah, I mean, if honestly and truthfully, if I had the answer to that, I would rule that app. But I don't know how it happened.
15 videos a day will do it.
Wish list said no one ever to me. Oh, what? No one's ever asked me for an Amazon wish list over here. I have yet to receive a coffee mug or anything of the sort. But send your gifts as you will. Send your gifts as you will.
No, I get them. I was offered, I got the like, oh, what's your PO box? And then I never get the like follow through. I get stuck at the follow through part. Like they never actually make it to the PO box.
Okay. You gotta like have, like, next time you record a video, just have something in your hand. I had somebody recently send me a case of Red Bull because I did some videos where I had Red Bulls in my hand. And so they sent me a case. So like, if there's something that like, and this sounds terrible. I sound like a Kardashian saying this, but it's in the context of what we're talking about. Like if there's something that you like, that you kind of feel guilty about spending your own money on, you just kind of hold it in your hand and, make the videos, like product placement. That's
the best. I like that. So not like Zack, I didn't find you until I heard about you. And so I did my little deep dive and I fell in love with Don't Make This Weird. It gave, when I first found it, I was listening and I said, is this man from NPR? Where did he come from? And then I went back to your website because I was like, it gave very much wait, don't tell me vibes if you listen to NPR. So what was your motivation or what was your inspiration behind creating that show?
That show, that was my first show. And it was named after what was my second book. And it was one of those things that I kind of always wanted to do, and I had appeared on a couple of my friends' podcasts, and finally he was like, "So you're going to start a podcast?" And I did, and the genesis of it was that I wanted to talk to my friends about the news because I like to surround myself with people who reliably vote, who consume the news the way I do, and who may not always be the people that the news organizations get quotes from and get sound bites from. And then I threw in some fun stuff like the random question game and the listener letter, and it took off from there.
It took off in a great way. I like it.
Thank you. You are more than welcome to come on anytime you want. You just let me know.
Thank you.
Elle is an amazing guest. Elle is an amazing guest, and I need her platform to grow because I feel like people are missing out on amazing reality TV content. I see all of these different social media influencers in that space pop up on my feed, and their content it doesn't even touch what Elle is doing with Housewives and Chit Chat. And I'm like, how? How does she only have 7,000 followers when, X, Y, and Z, or X has 106, Z has 200,000? It doesn't, it's baffling to me. So Greg, so you started out, so literally Don't Make This Weird was your very first podcast. So when you left TikTok, because Greg left TikTok, he quit us. He said, screw all of you, which I understand.
Definitely. TikTok will make you want to do that.
It is a hard place to be for a long period of time when you are doing the right work. TikTok seems to reward thirst trapping and,
white boys doing the bare minimum.
The bare minimum. And very playing into stereotypical tropes. That's what they tend to reward. And so for Greg being someone who was elevating social issues, talking about politics, and really moving the work in the right direction, fighting a good fight, I can understand how you can say enough of this. And so you left the platform to focus on your podcasting to become that one podcast guy. And so Don't Make This Weird has now grown into an entire podcasting network called The Joyful Warrior Podcasting Network. Tell us about this. How and why did that happen, and where is it going?
So it started, it was Don't Make This Weird, and then Don't Make This Weird, I had an idea for kind of like Elle said, a wait, don't tell me style panel show. So then I launched that. That was show number 2. That one is on a hiatus. It's called This Is Not an Endorsement. It was a monthly show. And then from there, I had an idea to do a music show, and that became Your Life the Mixtape, which is currently out. I'm still cranking episodes of that. I had the second season premiere at the end of February. I interviewed Fifi Dobson for the premiere, which was absolutely amazing. When her manager agreed to the interview, I cried. When the interview was over, I cried. Just like, that was amazing. And then I had an idea for an extended version of the random question game at the end of Don't Make This Weird, and that became 30 Questions With, which is out every Friday. And then one day, a few of us were talking, and I had some friends who had ideas for shows, and they didn't know how to get started. And I was like, okay, then this is how we're going to do this. And I set up a network. When we started, there were 4 of us. There were all of my shows, and then the gentleman who told me I had to do a podcast, we brought 2 of his shows in. The other 2 people, they each launched shows. And we are now at 17 shows, and growing. There's a few things in the works. This is an exclusive. Nobody outside of the network knows this. We are actually about to move into internet radio. We are, for anyone who is watching this right now, who perhaps would like to start their own podcast, we are launching a pilot program to do that, to offer you the support to get off the ground. And if your show performs well, we'll invite you into the network. And then beyond that, we are talking about a streaming TV channel. So also an exclusive. Nobody in the network knows that yet.
We are happy to get the scoop. We are happy to get the scoop with 3+1. We are happy to scoop. Greg, that, like, oh my God. So like, and so your streaming network would be like the podcast, like the live versions of your podcast, high quality news content that's being put out there.
Yes, it would be the vision in my head is it would be very much like if you took what MTV was, and it was, music and the personalities, but instead of your shows like TRL and Teen Goat Mom or whatever it was, it would just be like you would talk about the news, and then whoever is hosting that show would have people on to talk about the news, and then you'd play some of the host's favorite music or the guest's favorite music, and it's very much MTV News with music at all times.
I love it.
I like that. I like 30 Questions with is, I'm going to have to go back and listen to that. That is my type of content. The little 90s girl in me who like grew up watching the boxing, like feeding for all of the information in the MTV diaries. Like, I love those types of interviews.
Yeah. So, and that's a good question, kind of, since we have a focus on music, like who is someone that we need to be listening to that no one's listening to?
There are a lot of really great unsigned artists on TikTok. And a lot of times those artists, they'll have like a single or something out, and instead of like using the viral sounds or something to that effect, if you come across an unsigned artist, record a video with one of their songs. Like that's the best thing you can do. There's a few that I'm waiting for them to upload music to TikTok so I can put them in my videos. Because I feel like I have this platform, and if I don't, as I'm climbing this ladder, if I don't pull people up with me and help people the same way that people helped me, then like what's the point of doing this then? Like that's
No, definitely you have to send that elevator back down and then allow people to come up with you, because you can't get up the whole flight of steps by yourself.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of it all.
Yeah, I agree. So I don't get artists on my TikTok, Greg. That's not what pops up for me. I'm getting, well, hello there. You guys, anybody follow Black Crystal? Well, hello there. Or the young lady who takes a little microphone and she's tapping the microphone.
Oh, yeah.
I love her, but I never get like the musicians. The only, I guess, independent artist that I ever got on mine was Bella Porch, when she had, whatever song that she had. Then also that kid, I think he has pink hair. and his partner, they're all kids, but I guess he's his partner. He's like acid puke, and you know, he has made he's a huge deal on TikTok, and his song has gone like I think Jack Harlow said it's like the best song of the year. So I don't know. Anyway, I'll send it to you guys. Anyway, some pretty good songs there, decent songs. Really excited. So the Joyful Podcast, Joyful Warrior Podcast Network could very well soon be the Joyful Warrior Network.
Yes, it's definitely giving like
into the world needs MTV back.
MTV the box.
You like what, you say you like My MTV Diary? Did My MTV?
Yeah, you don't remember that?
MTV Diary?
I'm Aaliyah and this is the diary. You may think you know, but you have no idea.
I remember that tagline. You think you know, but I do remember that you have no idea. But you got to understand, back in those days, you know, I was a student and I was a studious student. So the TV didn't even, it like rarely came on. I love the summertime. I could even watch The Real World and Road Rules in real time. So I love when they had the marathons on Saturdays, because only in the summer I was able to like then have a Saturday where I was able to watch, because you know, I do, that was college days.
You were in the books, child.
Right. Now, Greg, you know, I thought Greg was in Australia for some reason, but you're not in Australia. You're in the Midwest.
No, I am in the South. I'm in North Alabama.
Oh, North Alabama,
wow.
like Huntsville?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're in Huntsville. When's your birthday?
August 24th.
So you're a Virgo. So this is a little, you know, it's I can get the radio for the Virgo or the podcast for the Virgo behind the camera, but I don't know. You know, Virgos tend not to like that in front of the camera, but maybe you have some of those Leo placements that bring to the forefront. You know, Elle is a Pisces. Recently had a birthday, but I guess, you know, time is passing. So we got,
it was still close.
Yeah, we got, you know, 2 water signs and an earth sign.
No, we love Huntsville. Bash and I went down there for a wedding a few years ago. It's, oh my God, beautiful.
Yeah, you know, did you watch that show, Elle? What is the Real Housewives of Huntsville, but on?
I don't watch it.
The generic version, the generic housewife version.
It's like the doctor, like Married to Medicine or something, isn't it?
Right.
It's like some kind of medical something. Like somebody's husband's a doctor, and
yeah. Elle, what is it? Love and Marriage Huntsville? Is it Love and Marriage?
I don't know. I don't like reality shows on OWN, and I felt like we had this conversation because when Oprah started OWN, when she was in those like high, like the 600 channels or whatever, right? You had to have a big cable package to.
I'll make it big.
You had to have a special package to get OWN network. She was very snooty. She was like, we will never do reality shows. Reality shows are beneath me, da da da. And those ratings came in and they horrible. And then she started doing all of these reality shows with no like real substance, nothing. There was nothing uplifting to the Black woman community. It was just like, oh, you guys flock to this, I'm gonna do it. So I don't like that. I don't like that energy. So
you never gave it a chance?
No, I've watched one reality show on OWN, and that was because I had a friend who was the executive producer of the show. Oh, nice. And for her, I watched it.
You know, I've never seen any of the OWN show. I've never seen Love in Huntsville, but I do like OWN. I watch Super Soul Sunday. You know, I hate that we don't have new episodes coming, and that may be the only thing I really watched on there.
See, it ain't really worth too. The one show that I did watch was about your hood. They was in Mississippi. It was
The Bell Collective.
Yes.
Was it good? Yeah. Little known fact to Annette is that I was asked to be on Ready to Love, but you know, at the time I was in love, and I was like, no, I don't know why you would even ask me to do that. But I guess the recruiter worked out in the gym that I was in and would see me in spin class and thought that I would want to be on that show. And I'm like, you do not know how to read the room at all. Do not know how to
he knows how to read good TV.
Well, maybe.
He knew what you was going to give What you wanted in your heart and what you was gonna give was two totally different things.
Well, that's true, because I would have definitely done my job. I would have done, I would have given what they wanted, gave. If I had my chance to shoot my shot, I'm gonna take that stage. And I'm gonna do what needs to be done.
Cue to you being in the spin class next week.
And I would have canceled all the folk. But I have not seen Ready to Love, so I need to watch the show to kind of even understand the premise and what the show is about. So, Greg, what we do on 3+1, the live cast, is every week we talk about the issues that are currently affecting our world, and we go with the up. And that's the good news, or something that we can try to find some good news in. We go with the down, something that isn't so good that we need to talk about. And then the clown, what could be absolutely ridiculous. And, and we also fill in the gaps with some things. So, Elle, is there an up this week? Great, is there an up this week that we need to surface when we talk about the up I picked? Some good news.
The up this week is suspending student loan debt. Was that this week or since our last show? That's a really big up. Your boy Biden was able to find some made up gas in a reserve somewhere, and that's gonna help, I guess. So
we definitely give a good news to the continued suspension of student loans as we walk the long, hard road to the cancellation of student debt, which is the modern day reparations that everyone who had to take out student loans is owed. Absolutely. This is a debt owed to the American people, all American people that should not have garnered debt to get an education.
To get an education, to get a job, to pay taxes.
That's good news. Greg, what you got over there? What's some good news?
Okay. We are 3 days away from the start of the Invictus Games, which means we are 3 days away from photos of Princess Meghan and Prince Harry.
Okay.
That's fantastic news.
That's really good news. That's great news. I lived for that rain shot. I forget where they were with the umbrella and that photographer caught it with the rain.
I haven't seen anything from them in a minute. I haven't seen. The last thing I've actually seen of them has been about the Netflix, not Netflix, Spotify, and the podcast they were going to have. I haven't seen anything since.
There was a story today. They met with the Queen today. Mm-hmm. They went incognito from Montecito into the UK.
Oh, wow. So, well, that's good news. The Queen had her, I would hope that they found some time to spend with the Queen as she's has recovered from COVID. She bounced back, hopefully stronger than ever. But again, she will not live forever. No one does. And so I definitely hope that maybe if there are issues, they can work through the issues. I picked, Elle, you live right there in the NYC area, and we have the suspected shooter from yesterday's subway attack having been, I want to emphasize, suspect apprehended. And this whole entire story to me is not necessarily an up, it's kind of a down, and it's really sad. But Frank James, 62-year-old man, is a suspected shooter. Very likely was a shooter from what I think has been revealed in what he said, his interview himself. Someone who struggled with mental health challenges, someone who asked the system for help. The good thing is he's been apprehended and is no longer a danger to himself and others. But just the fact that this man begged for help and never received it is so concerning to me. What do you guys think about this one?
There are very big cracks in the road that is mental health and advocacy in America. And I think the fact that he begged for help and couldn't get it is so indicative of so many people's stories, whether they're vets or just regular people. So for him to even be in a position where he called the police on himself, I think speaks to the level or the magnitude that we're dealing with of mental health and distress here. So I'm happy that they were able to apprehend him safely. And hopefully, maybe, I know this isn't stereotypically how the system works, but hopefully he can get some of that help that he needs behind bars. There was something beautiful in the whole moment that nobody was hurt. All of these shots, he stopped because his gun jammed. There were just so many moments where angels in the universe, whoever you believe in, interceded. So I hope that that energy carries and that he's able to get him some help. I know it was definitely scary thinking that he was on the run, if you will, knowing that people had to commute back home. Like, that's not my story, but just I couldn't imagine sitting at work after that or sitting wherever and thinking, holy crap, my only means back home is public transportation.
You had children who had to take the subway every day to school. And they're unaccompanied. This is their life in New York. They're used to it. And to me, again, everything about it was so horrifying when you really think about what that meant for people who are dependent on that type of transportation. What is there anything that could have been done differently that we know would have been that could be now implemented?
Here, I have questions, because since like this story happened, there have been a lot of New Yorkers who have been very vocal about the increased police presence on New York subway, mostly to stop people from, hopping the fare and, removing the homeless. And my question is, where in the police training, in a city that has the highest police budget in the world, I believe, why are none of the officers trained to see a man who had smoke canisters and weapons? And granted, I'm not saying there should be like a TSA level like examination before you get on the subway, but your police can't be so focused on people trying to ride the train for free, or removing people who are just looking for like a warm, dry place to chill for a little while. Like, you're supposed to protect and serve, and kicking homeless people out of the subway and stopping people from, 9 times out of 10, it's kids trying to, hop the turnstiles or whatever. Like to an extent, some of this blame falls on the NYPD.
Well, I think it's really big. It's like a domino effect, right? Because there's so many homeless people here because they're being displaced out of their homes. They're knocking down apartment buildings and project areas and places where people live. And then now they're $3,000 apartments and people can't afford these things. And it's so now, like you said, they're underground trying to just stay warm. But I think you hit the nail on the head. The answer has to be some sort of security check when you go down there. When you think about what happened, they were leaving the local stop heading into the express stop. So there was only a 3-minute window here. This man set off the gas grenade, and for 120 seconds, they were stuck. And luckily, again, they were in that express. They were going only that 3-minute commute. But that 3-minute commute, had they been on a normal train, would have been more like 7 minutes. So if he would have dropped it at the same point, they would have been 5 minutes there with this foreign aid. They don't know what it is and what's in it and where he got it from and if there are going to be prolonged effects afterwards. And then you think this thing runs underground and there's nobody checking to see if any explosives, anything is happening. And when you stop and think about that, I think that's a little wild. I think that you just trust people to go underground And the craziness has been ramping up on the subway to the point where he had to implement more police officers. This isn't new to New York. People in New York have been crying specifically about this issue for the last 6 months. It's been getting wilder and wilder and wilder. And again, we just trust people with no clearance. I think that's just what? Unmute yourself.
Will this incident make you be more hesitant about taking the subway?
Girl, I never wanted to be down there in the first place.
I love the subway.
I've only been on 3 times, and every time I was on, I said, "Baby, I don't make good choices. What is this?"
That's when I'm originally from Atlanta, so like riding MARTA and like I'm there with you, but you know, for a lot of people, like including myself, public transport like that is a necessity. You know, so you know, you're absolutely right that like there's got to be something.
Yeah, I love it. It's so fast. It's so convenient, right? When you're in New York, it's so fast. It's so convenient. I love it. I love it.
It's gonna be a no for me, and I get it. I would like the. Let me tell you, on one of the 3 trips, we were in the subway. So my husband goes, "All right, we have to go here." And he looked at that map, and all them green lines and red lines started doing like this. I said, "How you know?" Like they didn't teach me this in school. What? How are you supposed to read this? No.
Well, I just say really simple routes. Well, you know, Google. I mean, your Apple Maps, Google Maps, whatever on your phone now tells you what to do. It does. I loved it when I was in New York.
Leave me above ground. That's
when I was in New York. I went to New York for just 24 hours. It was really 48 hours, but I went for one day for my birthday, and it was just a full day of stuff. And the subway got me everywhere I had to go super fast, so I could do all the things I had on my birthday list. So, you know, after we do the up, we always go into the down. And so I know the subway was kind of a down, but I mean, shit, it just was that week in the world. We now go into the down, and this is like the sad news or the bad news of the week. I'm going to give you my down. What would you say would be some downs of the week?
The down for the week, and this is piggybacking off of yours a little bit, but the down would be the fact that that young lady was able to jump through those loopholes of our justice system, and not even
just go to the topic. We just bring up and then we come back. You want to just bring up the topic?
We can.
This is down, y'all. This is a big down. This is a sad day.
That's also mine.
Here you go.
He's like, no, let's just talk about it now.
Let's just dive right in here. Like, let's call a spade, okay? If these roles were reversed, if that was a dead white woman and her black boyfriend had claimed self-defense, would there be no charges filed against him as well? Because I feel like that's the number one question that these investigators are not asking themselves. Like when I first saw this story, I was like, this doesn't pass the smell test. You know, now what happened within the 4 walls of their home in the past, as far as like, you know, had there been domestic incidences, you know, I wasn't there. I'm not a part of that relationship, but you know, all we've got is her word and her family's word. But like nobody's ever said, oh, well, there's all these reports of domestic instances. It's just, you know, her friend said there was a history.
We've got that picture of her covered in blood. And I think that if the roles were reversed, and in those reverse roles, that picture also existed. Again, we weren't there, so I don't know what, if anything, she was defending herself from, but that was a lot of blood.
Yeah.
Like just what we know about what it might possibly take to harm somebody in relation to getting somebody off of you. Like we've all seen enough TV, like we've all lived on our own enough to know if you get the chance to get something, how to get somebody off of you. And I don't think the remnants of that look like that. And the way she was able to just immediately jump through those loopholes, claim mental illness, and just
it's very reminiscent of when, and I forget her name, but the Black woman went to the sleepover with all those white women, and the next morning she's dead.
mm-hmm.
Like
that was in Georgia.
The math is not mathing here. Like
it doesn't add up at all.
And that lady's family, you know, you have two cases right here in Georgia where the families are still demanding justice. You have the case that happened in Forsyth County with that young lady who was murdered or who died. And then you have a case in Loudoun County, Georgia, with a high school student who was found his body in a wrestling mat. So, you know, two huge stories that are not getting that. But to me, this story even reminds me of a situation similar to where you have a Black male who was supposedly being run off the road by a group of white teenagers or kids trying to assault him and his girlfriend. And then the girlfriend, when they were arrested, flipped and said that her boyfriend was the aggressor. And he's still, after her parents gave her a talking to, and he's still in jail to this day, you know, waiting to go to trial. This was a shocking situation. I was even shocked at how the media was telling the story. At first, everyone was saying that Clinty was a famous YouTuber and a famous TikToker, and I'm sure she was that. But, you know, that's not what the streets know her as. She is known for the work that she's done as an adult content creator for the OnlyFans platform, which is fine. But if that's what she's known for and that's what garnered her the largest audience, why was that not the first thing the media chose to say or to share about her? They were doing that because they wanted to portray a certain image for her, to lay a case for her in this situation. Interesting how a number of this young man's family, rightfully so, are now clamoring and asking for the Black community to support them and help them get justice. Elle, as a Black woman, do you feel as though that Black women should stand up for this situation? Because a lot of people on TikTok, a lot of Black women on TikTok said they are not going to do a thing. They're sitting this one out. What do you say as the Black woman on the show?
I say I need to plug my laptop in. Give me 2 seconds, please. The little thing just came up like.
What do you think, Greg? Do you feel as though this is a situation where, as someone who has been an ally in a fight with social justice, a social justice warrior, do you feel as though the social justice community should pick up the reins here and demand justice for him? From your seat,
from my lane, it's like my position on it, you know, is like I have made my views on the case very clear here. But as far as, you know, do I feel like Black women should, you know, those are cues that I will take from Black women.
No, not Black women. I want you to tell me about, as someone who has advocated for justice for other people, do you feel, you as a white man who is an ally of the Black community and of social justice work, do you feel that your community should be fighting for justice in this case?
Yeah, absolutely. Because in my opinion, there are some things about this case that, you know, the investigators have laid out that, like, it doesn't make sense. And, like, you know, if it comes out that, you know, there were domestic issues, you know, that will be addressed then. But for right now, I feel like, you know, this man's family and really the world at large need answers as to what actually happened.
I think his family needs somebody to step in on a PR team, because I feel like the verbiage should be, we need people to help us get this message across, because I feel like them asking the Black community specifically for their help or their endorsement or their whatever to get this story out there is a little bit like, oh, I have a son who was Muslim and who was very big on Muslim and being Muslim and denounced, let's just say, the Catholic Church and said that he didn't stand with them. He don't like people from the Catholic Church, X, Y, Z. Now something happens to him and it's like, oh, we need the help from the Catholic Church. Like, he don't like us, you know? But also being Black, in my opinion, is about loving your neighbor. It's about being strong when you see somebody else can't be strong. It's about empathizing and thinking like, if this were my son, I would want that help, which is why I think that if I were anywhere on his PR team, I'd be big on pushing the narrative of we need human beings. What happened to this human being is not okay, no matter what the race of the other person who did it to. And we need human beings to help us get this story out here because my human son is no longer here with us. And that's it. I think race should be so far out of anything from this family's mouth. They should not be employing Black, because listen, we tired. We tired of being thrown away by Black men. We are tired of being told that we are not enough, or that we don't do enough, or that we aren't passive enough, or that we're too strong, or that we're too loud, or that we're too quiet. We're tired of being told who and what we are and why that devalues us as women, and then simultaneously be expected to be that strong person and clean up the mess after you've devalued and broke us down. Black women can't help you, but some human beings could.
You know, I agree with you. I definitely don't think that, you know, any Black woman should be compelled to take a stance. You know, as a Black man, I am going to address it at some point if time allows. But after today and all of the police brutality that has popped up in the world, all of the lives lost that are finally gaining the attention they deserve, even if not in mainstream news media, there are urgent things to deal with and contend with. Every life is precious. I understand that. But again, you know, there are some issues that, you know, I think are, for me, more pressing. And Sonia Cole says that, listen, his family can't expect Black women to advocate for this Black man who despised and degraded us while he was alive. He did not care for Black women. The argument, Sonia, would be that he made these comments when he was, like, I think 17 years old back in 2012. But the retort to that comment or that defense would be, it seemed as though that thinking that he had at 17 matured and grew with him instead of falling beside and devolving. That's not what we seem to see. And I think it's unfortunate. And I think that it's really sad. I think that this young lady was also out literally in public with her father recently having drinks, where, you know, like, she is literally free. She is, you know, free and empowered to be out, you know, real stressed out, getting her a good cocktail. And I think that is just heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. Yeah. Okay. As well as 2020. Yeah. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I don't believe the sentiments changed. I think that they may have only grown. And right along the same lines as this, is we have this week's clown of the week. Y'all, look, the clown of the week is always the absolute most ridiculous, foolish thing that's there. And to be fair, Greg, we may have given the clown of the week previously to former President Donald Trump way too many times, right? He literally was winning this. Like, I think he won for like 2 years in a row every single Thursday. But this week, he is not the clown. I try very hard to never even say the man's name, to give the man any more time and attention in my mind or in any other platform. But this week's clown, I thought, was a little bit just, I'm baffled. Like, I'm literally still baffled at Mano for the Drano. So Mano, and let me give you guys the background. This is Mano. This is the man in this video. Are you familiar with his music, Elle, as a New Jerseyan?
I don't know nothing about his music.
No, me either, but they say he's a rapper.
Even if I did, I want to separate myself from this. Even if I did, I don't know.
So supposedly Mano is a rapper, and Mano went on Angela Yee's lip service show, where he said on the show that his fantasy is to be whipped by white women. He enjoys when white women whip him. That when he pretends to be a runaway slave that has been captured by a white man, their husband, which adds a whole other dilemma to this man's fantasization. And then the master's wife whips him mercilessly and then ravages him or allows him to ravage her. These are the words that came out of this man's mouth on the Angela Lee's lip service broadcast. Now listen, Mano is a clown of the week, but I'm going to come back and talk about how Angela Yee also gets some clownery. She's a clown too. But I want to know, what do you guys think about Mano for the Drano and his slave rape fetishes?
I think it's something in the drinks at lip service. That's first and foremost. I think when people go on their show, they shouldn't drink nothing she offers, because these black men get on her show. Juice? I'm telling you, it's something in it. It's some, what Greg say, the math ain't mathing, okay? Jim Jones got on that show and told the world that his mom taught him how to French kiss by kissing him when he was younger. They get on this particular show and just word vomit some of the craziest.
Maybe they got the non-lethal Jim Jones juice, right? Like literally, you said Jim Jones. I immediately thought of the Jamestown Massacre and the Kool-Aid.
They got something. What is it? The Spanish Fly? They putting something. Something is going in the drinks, because what? I don't even know what to suggest to unpack. Like, I don't know if that's self-hatred. I don't know if, and I'm very much, let me just say this, because I'm very much like, your fantasy is your fantasy. I don't like to yuck anybody's yum, as long as everybody is consenting, as long as it ain't no animals. Follow the law and then go forth and prosper. But no, I can't get behind that one. And it was the fact that it was detailed, it was thought out. He had two versions. He had like, if this one is too far for you, then you can do this. Like, and I want to say it's a little sprinkle of mommy issues in there too, because he wanted to be whipped by Massa, and then he wanted the white wife to come console him and heal the wound. And then after that, and he also wouldn't be mind being called the N-word. Like in situations, I normally say the N-word, but in situations like this, I feel like that's appropriate. Like just the N-word.
No, it's the real N-word that he won't say it. Like he don't.
He wants the hard
real. He wants the authentic, original N-word with all the old school pure.
Get behind him and say, "What's your name, boy?"
Greg, do you have any thoughts on this?
I feel like that, the first and foremost, if I was with a black man and he said, "Hey, this is my fantasy," that I'm not comfortable with that. Like that's, for me, that's not okay.
You would not be able to consent to that.
Yeah, that's.
I'm scared of the person who could consent.
That's something that I'm not okay with. It goes against everything that I believe and stand for. Secondly, though, I wonder what his thought process is, because if they're okay treating him like that in the bedroom, what happens on the street? Like, because if he's cool with them, like calling him the hard R in the bedroom, two white wine spritzers out at the country club, and she's calling you every name from Roots. Like, it's just, I don't like it. I need to shower. Like, okay,
really dirty.
Yeah, I don't.
There are multiple levels to the failure. There's multiple levels of the clownery that Mano brought to the table. Number one, you're a clown because and I don't want to say shame. I agree with you, Elle. What you like, what you like. But again, if what you like, results in your degradation, then that's fine. But if what you like results in the degradation of an entire community and upholds bastions of white supremacy, it's a bigger problem. That's surface level one. But surface level two is the fact that you will get on national television or radio or broadcast and say this nonsense out of your mouth to Black women like it's okay. Because
he could have just been like, I want to be a firefighter and I want her to climb my hose. Like, he could have told them that off camera.
He could have said he wants her to be a firefighter and install a hose, and that still could have been a little bit more understanding than what this man
going to take a bath.
He could have even said that, like, you know, he was a furry, and I feel like it wouldn't have been as controversial. But on the flip side, you know, there's that old saying, you know, all publicity is good publicity.
This cannot, maybe. I can't see how this Firmino that I don't even know and will never stream his music could be. But again, the fact that Angela Yee creates a platform that allows this really bothers me. And let me tell you why, right?
Because I cut his mic.
Right. So literally
the episode.
You're taught this week in the news on that platform, you're talking about slave rape fantasies. When we have 3 Black people unarmed gunned down by police in the United States this week alone that have garnered national attention. Like, why do these people have such a huge platform to give voice to slave rape fantasies? That is my issue and my problem. Why I do not like and cannot support Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Gadfly, and the entire platforms that we have allowed them to build.
No, and same. It's like whenever I catch them on the radio, I'm like, what culture do they like this? And I also think that in that space too, there's a certain thing is aging out. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't want to be ageist or anything, but at the point in which you're having to audition the Bias of the world, the Kodak Blacks these artists, these people are 19 to 23, Fabios of the world. Like, even Angie Martinez, who once was the voice of the culture, at 50 something plus, I want more depth from you. I want other conversation from you.
Yeah.
And I want you to
evolving as you know, like that's why MTV News, you had Kurt Loder giving the news, and then you had Sway giving the hip hop news, and you had, you know, that's the way, that is what makes sense. And I agree with you that some of these people are way too old to be in the muck and mire of nonsense pop culture that they live in. And
I think that's why some of it reads is out of touch too, because they're like, they don't know, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just not, there's just not the area. When these cameras go off, they're not living it, where when they started, they were immersed in the culture. And so there's only but so much of a conversation that you can give, and there's so much of like, oh, I didn't know that was too far, because that's not my area. I don't know the rules and the boundaries of that space, and I'm just trying to fit in here, and that fitting in doesn't translate.
I mean, it would be very much, I am of a certain age, and it would be very much like me hosting the Nickelodeon Kids Choice Awards red carpet event. I don't know who these fetuses are. They don't know who I am. Like,
I agree. Greg, I'm with you there too. Even though I'm sure in real life we're the same age, I would just never admit it on air. Even I, who constantly, you know, will never reveal my age, even I would not host Nickelodeon's Kid Choice Awards, right? Like, come on.
It's like, oh my God, good to see you. They were like, ma'am, that's such and such. Everybody that would come up to my mic, I'd be like, oh my God, good to see you. Oh, yeah, that's not you either? Okay, hold on, next person.
Excuse me, you were on High School Musical, right?
But that's what I
like talking to the camera people, like High School Musical. Yeah.
That's So Raven, right? Yeah.
Right. So and when people who are our age do that, we're taking opportunity away from the next generation of talent, and they deserve to grow and have their chance to become that next generation, to constantly evolve and constantly move up across the board. We have hit the hour mark. So, Elle, I know there was some big news that is happening in the world of Housewives and Chit Chat.
Of Housewives and Chit Chat, or just the Housewives?
Oh, any of the news as we get ready to conclude and close.
Yeah, I thought you said you wanted to jump on Instagram.
I thought I did, but taxes I forgot are calling. I gotta scan some stuff in, and I gotta. This tomorrow's the day.
Try to get the house in order. Amen. No,
or I will be out of the house and in the penitentiary. Like I gotta get these
in that order.
And I always feel like if you do an extension, you're more likely to probably get audited and have to do all the extra work. I just feel like I turn that stuff in on the 15th, I'm good.
Yeah.
No, and you should turn it in. Yes, no, I don't play with the.
I got all these things to go through and put together, but it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen tonight.
Try that just gave me agita. Housewives of Beverly Hills.
We can do an Instagram, just not do an Instagram tonight. But we can do one, but not tonight.
No, yeah, well, whatever. I'm easy breezy. You've got Giselle and Candace having a moment in Blind Item. So like, go check that out on Twitter.
They've been going back and forth on Twitter.
Well, some blind items came out, says that Giselle is coming for Candace now. She's claiming that Chris was inappropriate with her, and then she got with Monique to get the binder to get some information there. You've got Giselle and Erica's beef back and forth. The reel has been canceled, so that's fun. Just a lot of stuff. But you can follow me on Instagram. I'm Elle Murasaki on Instagram. I mean, not on Instagram.
Probably coming back to Instagram. I don't understand why you wouldn't have left, because that is where the money resides.
Just pray for me. Okay, it's been a minute since I've been at Chick-fil-A, so we just can't do them all. Like, let me just knock off some.
As long as you've let Chick-fil-A go, I'm happy. That's all I ask that you do is not eat Chick-fil-A. But
I'm Elle Murasaki on Twitter, and I always talk about and repost the Housewives chit chat and gossip over there. So that's it.
Okay, and Greg, what do we have coming up next?
I have shows every day of the week except Saturday and Sunday. I'm That Podcast Guy one on Instagram and Twitter, and then
Twitter.
That One Podcast Guy, the number one, on TikTok, and anything that comes up between now and the time the sun rises, and it's likely to, it'll be on the socials.
It'll be on the social. So, Greg, thank you so much for joining us. Your article will go live next week. So you guys definitely check out 3plus1media.com, where you will see an in-depth interview with Greg, as well as this clip. But it's also going to be, of course, on the YouTube and the Facebook. And then Elle Murasaki is also that. So what? Okay, so on your website, because I know you're getting all these brand deals and all these great promotions. Is there a deal of the week?
Are you in my head? Because I did want to do a deal of the week, so I was going to do that video tomorrow for you guys. But just some products.
Well, give us an early hint, so if I want to buy it.
Your early hint is like go to Whole Foods. So we're just doing a little bit of a Whole Foods haul, just some items that like I just have to pick up whenever I go into Whole Foods. A lot of people are scared because they feel like it's going to cost a lot of money, but I like to.
It's going to cost a lot of money.
I mean, well, it's food now, so it is going to cost a lot of money, but we're not in there buying like $30 salad dressings or anything like that. So just some of the few foods from Whole Foods that I'm just into this week. So I don't have a deal on it in terms of promo code, but we're going to talk about it.
That's what you'll highlight. And Greg, do you have like a deal of the week or a product that you love that you want to shout out?
Yes, I do. Peach Red Bull is what's up.
Is it really good? I've seen it, but I've never had it.
It is good.
It is the closest to an actual fruit flavor from Red Bull, and it is the best fruit flavor from Red Bull.
So, I think anything with sugar in it for me is like a treat, because I try to avoid a lot of sugar. So only time I drink Red Bull is that nasty sugar-free Red Bull, which is like so flat. So, I may treat myself on next week to a peach-flavored Red Bull.
Do it. They're really good.
They are good.
I'm going to give it a try. So, all right, guys. Thank you so much, Greg. Thank you for joining. Elle, I'll be in touch.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you for having
and
me.
I will see you guys all next week, where we will be joined by Manny K, independent artist, with a focus on this show, talking about how can you be an independent artist in 2022 and still stay relevant. It seems like, Greg, I'll be connecting Manny to you. So if he has some good music, you can use it. We'll promote him, and we'll see what he brings to the table. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Somebody said Red Bull gonna make our heart explode. I don't.